Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, and welcome to Jagadambe Reads the Holy Books of India, Mahabharata 534. As you may remember, everyone who was still alive was walking toward the river Ganga to honor their dead. Kunti's condition was pitiable. 3 days back, Hridaya was killed by her Arjuna. There was great celebration in the Pandava camp. She had heard about it from Sanjaya. When Sanjaya was telling Dhritarashtra about the war, about the death of Hridaya, she heard it. Her heart was burning with grief. She could not tell anyone about it. She could not talk about the wound in her heart. She had to be silent. Today on the battlefield, she saw the dead form of her firstborn. She would not allow herself to faint. Krishna was watching all the while. She looked at Hridaya, and she saw his wife weeping over her lord. She saw that too, and still she did not speak. Now, at the end of all this, she was walking with all of them to see the funeral oblations paid on the banks of the sacred river Ganga. It was the same Ganga who took her son away from her years back. Still, Ganga flowed as placidly as she did on that memorable day when she set the wooden box afloat on the bosom of the river. It looked like yesterday. Kunti was watching the men give their final offerings to the departed souls. Hridaya had no son to do it for him. They were all dead. He was still an orphan, as he was on the day she had abandoned him. Her heart was ready to burst with the great sorrow. She burned with self-condemnation for the great injustice she had done to her child. Kunti squared her shoulders. She set her lips in a firm line. She had to do it. She owed at least this to Hridaya. She walked with firm steps to her son Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira had just finished his offerings to the sons of Draupadi and all the others. Arjuna's tears were still in his eyes. He had just made the offerings for his dear beloved Abhimanyu. Now Kunti would do something which would make all this pale into just nothing. She went to Yudhishthira and placed her hand on his back. He turned round and said, "Yes, mother? What is it? Why did you call me?" Kunti had to swallow hard to prevent a sob from escaping her lips. She said, "There is still another person left. You have to make the offerings for him also, my son." Yudhishthira looked at her. Her eyes were red with unshed tears. All the people who had assembled there paused and looked at the scene between mother and son. The brothers of Yudhishthira crowded around them and stood with their brows knit to guess who this other person could be. Krishna, the one man who knew, stood and watched Kunti with great compassion in his eyes. She had kept the secret well. She had not announced it during the war. She was silent even after Hridaya died, because it would have broken the heart of Yudhishthira. He would have stopped fighting and gone back to the forest. What Kunti was doing now was the right thing. Krishna listened. Yudhishthira said, "One person more? I don't understand. I remember the dead only too well. Surely I'm not such an ingrate as to forget those who died for me. Who is this person to whom an offering by me is due?" Kunti said, "It's Hridaya. You must make this offering for him too." Yudhishthira was astounded. He said, "Hridaya? But mother, why should I do it for Hridaya? He's a Sutta Putra. The funeral rites must be performed by his father, since his sons are dead. I am a Kshatriya. Why do you ask me to do it for a Sutta? For Hridaya the Sutta Putra, our arch enemy. Why should I do it, mother? Please tell me. Why do you look so unhappy?" A moment passed. Kunti was dumb with the agony in her heart. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.